What's up guys, my name is Gabe and welcome back to the Trojan Blade. Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we continue the fall camp preview series and we are taking a look at the Trojan offensive line. So you guys know I am fired up. To me, this is the most important position group on this team this year. We saw how the offensive line can have a negative impact on the offense last year, especially in South Bend, but this line is back and it's new and it's very exciting and I think they're going to have a big year. So before we get into it, if you guys are enjoying these videos, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for being here and let's get into this. Okay, since there's so many positions on the offensive line and so many guys in this room, I'm going to give you my starters and then break those guys down. And then we'll talk about some young guys and some potential contributors as well. So working from left to right, you have Elijah Page at left tackle, Emmanuel Ogbah at left guard, Jonah Monheim at center, Alani Noah at right guard, and Mason Murphy at right tackle. So taking a look at Elijah Page, if you guys know, I'm obviously a massive fan of Elijah and his game. 6'7", 320 pounds, redshirt freshman. When we flipped him from Notre Dame, I remember saying on this channel that he is the most advanced tackle prospect I've seen in some time. He truly just looks like a veteran player out there. Footwork, hand placement, decisiveness. You don't see him second guessing himself. He's violent when he needs to be violent. He's patient when he needs to be patient. Of course, being a massive Cleveland Browns fan as well as a USC fan, I do feel like I'm qualified to say that I see some Joe Thomas in his game. They're very similar. They're very deliberate. They're very precise with their striking and their hand placement. The posture is always spot on, but when you get him in the run game, he can flip that switch and just turn into an absolute monster. I truly think Elijah Page is a name that needs to be known all throughout the country. I think he's going to be a first-round pick. I think he's going to be an All-American, and I think he has a chance to be remembered as one of the all-time great offensive linemen at USC when his playing days are done. Now moving to the left guard spot, let's talk about Emmanuel Ogbah. Obviously transferred from Wyoming last year. 6'5", 320, redshirt senior. When he arrived last year, camp had already started and he was injured as well, so he didn't get off to a very fast start with this team. I thought he was a guy that when you watched him, he got better and better as the year went on. Looked like a lot more what we saw at Wyoming as opposed to early on in his tenure at USC. This is a first off the bus kind of guy. Absolutely terrifying to look at. He has those crazy eyes that you love when your offensive linemen have. He looks absolutely massive. I mean, he looked big last year, but this is just a different level. Benny Wiley has been absolutely putting in work with this offensive line, and Emmanuel is showcasing that here. Second year in this Lincoln Riley offense for Emmanuel. Second year under Trojan offensive line coach Josh Henson. Very excited to see what he can put together this year. Would love to see him continue where he left off at the tail end of last year and leave those early season struggles in the past. Moving to the middle of the line, we have brand new Trojan center Jonah Monheim. Obviously not brand new to the program, but this will be Jonah's first time playing center at USC. 6'5", 310 pounds, redshirt senior, an all-world kind of player. While Pro Football Focus does have its issues, one thing that I love about it is that it really helps to spotlight some of these players that wouldn't get any publicity otherwise. You see all these stats coming out about Jonah, and they paint him as one of the best offensive linemen in the country, and that's because that's exactly what he is. So you love seeing him get heaped with all that praise because God knows he deserves it. He's been through a lot of SC, he's played all over the line, and last year for USC, he was absolutely dominant, especially as a pass blocker. Now, this was a very poor run blocking line across the board last year. And while that was the case, I don't think any of these guys are poor run blockers. In the run game, it really takes an offensive line being in sync, being on the same page to really create a push. If one guy is off, it can blow the entire play up. And when you talk about an offensive line being in sync, a lot of that is on the center. Last year, we saw Justin Dedich there. It was his first time playing center for us as well. And things were definitely not as smooth as they were under Brett Nealon. So can Jonah Monheim raise the play from the center spot? That would be a game changer for this offensive line. Center is such a difficult and specific position. Having a veteran guy like this that's played all over the line and is just very good at what he does, I think is going to do wonders for this Trojan offense. So expect more of the same from Jonah this year. Not going to doubt him until he gives me a reason to. Now, talking about right guard, this is an open position battle. You've got multiple contenders here, including Alani Noah, Gino Quinones, Amos Talele, and Micah Benuelos. Alani Noah obviously having a big edge there. I do feel safe in saying that it's his job to lose, but you look at a guy like Gino Quinones, a lot of experience, obviously got hurt last year, but he could come in and do a job for you. Both Amos Talele and Micah Benuelos are absolute maulers in the run game. Vicious finishers. Both young guys as well, both being redshirt freshmen. Now, I don't know if Micah Benuelos is fully healthy. Lincoln didn't mention him when he was talking about injuries yesterday. But of course, with Lincoln Riley and injuries, we never know if he's telling the truth. But talking about Alani Noah, who I do think is going to win this job, True sophomore, 6'4", 335 from Sacramento, California. Vicious mauler in the run game. An absolute beast. When he gets his hands on you, you're going down and it's probably gonna hurt. I mean, he's just a killer out there on the football field. Had an up and down freshman year. In that first game against San Jose State, looked a little lost in pass pro. As a true freshman offensive lineman, that is to be expected, especially with the way our offense was rotating. That can't be easy on any young player. But Alani's one of those guys, very similar to a Deuce Latui. By the time his playing career is up at USC, I do think he could be a fan favorite. If he has an entire season of playing under his belt, he is no doubt going to have some absolutely comical pancakes on his highlight reel. A lot of the Big Ten people don't think we have offensive linemen that can play like that, but they'll soon learn that we definitely do. And sliding over to right tackle, we have Mason Murphy. Now, Mason Murphy is a guy I've been very uneasy about going into the year as our starting right tackle, but Mason is also a guy that has incredible upside, a ton of physical talent. If things just clicked for him, he could be a big-time player. And everything we're hearing out of USC camp is that Mason has turned the corner, that he had a phenomenal spring, and that he is ready to become the player that we all think he could be. 6'5", 315, redshirt junior. Again, a very talented player. Problems I've had with Mason in the past is that he seems a little lax in pass pro. He's very upright. He's not as active as you would want him to be. There's some mental lapses from time to time. But if he can clean all that up and he has the offense down and he knows what he's doing, what you have is a 6'5" right tackle that is very athletic and can easily play in space. He's not afraid to go out there and dance with you. And in today's day and age of college football, you have to have a good pass blocking right tackle. It's not like how it used to be where you would have your elite pass blocker on the left side and then your road clearing run grader on the right side. Teams' best pass rushers aren't just lining up on the left tackle anymore. They're moving all over the field. You have to be able to pass block at every single spot along the offensive line. And when you look at a guy like Mason Murphy, if he can be trusted with those little things, with his process from down to down, I do think that would be a massive win for this Trojan offensive line just because of the physical talent. Now, another player that has gotten a ton of praise from both players and coaches throughout camp and has just put on a shit ton of weight is redshirt freshman tackle Tobias Raymond. I remember seeing pictures of Tobias when he first committed to USC. He looked like a small forward to me. He was so lanky, but now he's listed at 6'7", 315, and he looks like an absolute unit. He looks completely jacked. He looks like he's ready to play now. And when you hear guys like Elijah Page, like Coach Henson, just singing his praises, that's very exciting. Having two potential options at right tackle is a welcome sight for USC. Now, Tobias is obviously unproven. Going into venues like the Big House with a right tackle that's never played this level of ball before is a little unnerving to me. But if he is as ready as everyone says he is, then that's something we're not going to have to worry about. Again, I do think it's going to be Mason Murphy there at that right tackle spot. But again, hearing that Tobias is pushing him is very good news. Now, looking through the rest of this room, both Kalolo Ta'aga and Makai Sena are both hurt going into fall camp. Both true freshmen there. Of course, Makai Sena is one of my favorite players in the entire class. One of the most violent linemen you will see coming out of high school. From the state of Texas, an absolute beast out there on the football field. Don't think he's ready to play this year anyway, but that is a name to know for the future. Another guy that could contribute is Killian O'Connor. I don't know if he is on scholarship. I know he was a walk-on. If you guys do know that, please let me know down below in the comments. This is going to be your backup center for the 2024 season. Very smart kid, has the trust of Lincoln Riley and this USC offense. So if something did happen to Jonah Monheim, he's going to go in there. Obviously, don't know how we'd fare going up against this elite level of competition, but having a guy that is trusted by Lincoln is a very good sign. And finally, last guy that I want to talk about today is by far the most underrated player in the entire 2024 class. It is true freshman guard Hayden Treater. Hayden is listed at 6'6", 325 from Greenwood Village, Colorado, and this kid is nasty, vicious in the run game, very balanced and in control in pass pro. When you talk about it from a physical standpoint, Hayden's ready to play right now. Obviously, there is a difference in having the size to play and being strong enough to play. We know those are two different things, but I truly believe that Hayden is strong enough to play right now. This is a guy that if he was at IMG or Mater Dei or St. John Bosco, he would have no doubt been at the very minimum a high-end 4-star, potentially a 5-star. He got completely overlooked playing in the state of Colorado. But if not this year, this is a kid that is going to be a starter for USC sooner rather than later. So get to know the name. Hayden Treater is a part of the future plans at USC. And guys, that will do it for my offensive line preview. I hope I help you get to know this room a little bit better. If you did happen to enjoy this preview, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you guys so much for all the continued support. You're all awesome, and as always, take care and fight on.